Real sports updates. Keep it here on the Beat of Sports.
Chad, I give real sports updates.
No, you don't, Leslie. Nobody likes your sports updates. You don't even know your sports updates.
Hang on, I can't start the show yet. I just got to buy something for Chris.
Stop it.
Use handkerchief, Jerry Jones. It's ours.
How much?
$6. 4 payments of $1.50 over the next 4 months. All yours. Happy Monday and welcome to the Beat of Sports.
What are we doing?
I'm Marc Daniels. That's Chris Vasquez over there. I can't believe you don't like the idea of buying game-used seats.
How do we even know? One, it's
Chris,
stupid.
it says it's authenticated.
By who again?
You know, got it right here. Hang on. Got to find it again. The Cleveland Cavaliers are giving a chance to buy game-used courtside seats in games 3 and 4, including celebrities like Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Timothy Chalamet, Kylie Jenner, Ben Stiller, Machine Gun Kelly. Seats have been certified as genuine through the realest, witness-based, and tamper-proof Truist authentication system. What? You don't think that's real?
Is it the longer the name, the more fake it sounds?
I don't know. But Kelly found the site. Yeah, sure.
This is so dumb. What are we doing?
Well,
this is a Monday. What are we doing?
Anyway, how was your weekend?
It was good. Picked up a shift at the newly renovated Bowigan's Castleberry location Saturday night. Saw Scott Adams was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, we got a sick household. Wife's been battling something. Daughter's pretty much been sick since we came back from Colombia.
Chris walked in at the start of the bridge and goes, yeah, wife says apologies. I'm thinking, what happened? And sniffling all night and brings it in here.
I'm not sniffling.
Mm-hmm.
Not sniffling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a rough night.
If I get sick, I swear. Wow. God.
It was a rough night. Baby girl woke up at a little after midnight. Couldn't get her back to sleep till after 2. I don't know if she's teething still, like if she got more teeth coming in, and between her being sick and that, and it's a long night. But we're here.
All right.
We're here.
Dental cleaning today.
Ugh.
You've heard me talk about the dental, like, when I committed to working on my teeth years ago, went through all the stuff that I did. Okay, I think she had sympathy for me. So when she did the dental cleaning, it's like, hey, we're starting from a bad place, it's going to get better. And as I've gotten better, and now I take care of my teeth, now I feel like I'm penalized even more. You know, like I floss, never bleed or anything like. And she's just going to beat the crap out of me. She wedges that foot in the wall to get digging deeper and everything. Has that pick and that, yeah. I'm telling you, I could walk, and I love my dentist. I can walk out of my dentist with a root canal and feel better than after a cleaning because she just beats the crap out of me.
God.
Yeah.
It does not sound fun.
Yeah. In fact, I was in last week. I think it was Thursday. Because I was changing a future appointment to go back to finish something with my dentist. And I think she heard my voice and snuck around and had that smile like, guess who's coming back? Because I had to cancel, because I had a cleaning like a few weeks ago, but I was in Arizona for baseball. I think she heard my voice and she snuck her head around with that smile like, oh, someone's in trouble when they come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm petrified. Yeah, I'm going to walk out, call my wife, and be like, I'm beat up. I can't, just beat up. Yeah. Do you have to wedge your foot in the wall? Do you have to? Yeah.
I hate the
And then I wear headphones. You know, I get the earbuds, right? And then she'll talk. What?
That's a little rude.
What?
That's a little rude.
Yeah.
Don't wear the headphones.
Wait, what's rude?
Wearing headphones while she's doing the cleaning.
Why is that rude?
Conversation.
Yes. What conversation? What are we going to talk about? Do your job. I got the headphones. I don't like to hear all the stuff and the pick and the drill and there's no drill, but
my old dental hygienist, we would kind of talk.
not talking.
Why?
There's not,
That's rude.
it's like when I was going through a lot of the dental stuff, and then the dentist, says, "You okay? Am I okay?" There's a live drill in my mouth, the suction thing going on. I'm not okay. And a bright light, like I'm being interrogated. Let's go.
So when you go through the cashier line at the grocery store, are you wearing headphones?
No, I don't do that
What's the difference?
because I don't want to hear the noise going on as I'm lying back with that stuff. Totally different than disrespecting someone going through the line at public.
That's a little rude, Mark.
I don't think it's rude at all. You worry about your stuff. I'll take care of my stuff.
That's a little rude. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, yesterday morning I went by my P.O. box at 8:45 on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the door to get into the post office is open for those that have a P.O. box, right? The door to get into the normal post office area obviously is locked. 8:45, person goes, "What time do they open?" And I said, "Monday?" It's 8:45 on a Sunday and you thought someone was going to be here? Yeah. What time do they open? Monday. What? Sunday at 8:45?
In fairness, they used to. I don't think the post office used to deliver on weekends, but because of Amazon, now they do.
Yeah, but the actual post office.
You got to adjust with the times.
Okay. You think they took it pretty sarcastic when they said what time?
I hope so.
I said Monday. All right now. Yeah.
I hope they kind of took it sarcastically.
Nah, it's all right. Anyway, all right. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Game 3 tonight of the NBA Finals. Storm season ended yesterday over in Daytona.
We missed the game. We were supposed to go. Me, you, and Kelly.
I watched a good chunk of it. Yeah. Can't beat a team 3 times in a row, man. Somehow, I think the championship game this week is still going to be Orlando and D.C. Yeah. Even though St. Louis lost, the 2 favorite teams lost. So anyway, we'll get to all that and a bunch more. First, everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? 1 Forrest 1.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great. Mark,
Chris.
so excited for this joke. Kicking off the week strong. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Did you hear that Kermit the Frog got a DNA test done? It turns out he's a majority frog and a tad Polish. Tadpole. There's a Polish.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Never fear. Marc Daniels is here. Welcome back to the Beat of Sports.
You can listen to the show on FM 96.9, AM 740 on the iHeart app, which is free to download and listen anywhere in the world. You can also watch the video stream by going to our YouTube page, 96 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. Also access that to stream via Twitter, 96.9 Game On. You can also watch back the show, the same YouTube page later in the day if you miss it live. And if you're tuning in right now, Chris has a cowboy
t-shirt hoodie with my Fire Jerry hat.
Yeah.
And I didn't show it, but I am rocking my dad jokes served fresh daily mug.
Okay. All right. And you're just slurping. Yeah. Nice. Really good. Good stuff there.
On the console?
Scott's in the bullpen here today. Yeah.
On the console, right next to the board?
Computer, expensive equipment. Yep. Yeah. It could fall anytime.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to be prepared for it.
I live life on the edge.
Yeah. Chris, you've heard me talk about this before. The beauty of sports is the emotional investment that one makes in their team. It's the journey of a season. It's waiting years to win a championship. And then, what it means. And sometimes the overanalyzation of something, when you step back and look at a 30,000-foot view, is also kind of comical. And what I mean by that is, even though, and I said this to Kelly, even though I thought San Antonio's final possession was a terrible possession, and my reasoning for that is that when you have that thing, you want that thing around the rim so that you can get a second chance on a missed shot. So you want to get to the rack, the odds of drawing a foul or having him with a putback. I didn't like the possession. I mean, I liked it as a Knicks fan. However, if he makes the shot, the narrative is completely changed in the series, right? Because if he makes the shot, it's young player rises up, game on the line, makes the shot. That's why he's going to be the face of the league and overcame being outplayed by Karl Anthony Towns. Series is even at 1. Spurs take momentum to New York. All they got to do is steal 1, and everything is different, right? The vibe the last couple of days, it's completely different. All because of 1 shot. Again, make it? Whoa. Right? The post game would have been the Knicks collapse. Knicks gave the game away. The big run by San Antonio. Can they handle the pressure? Everything changes because of 1 shot. Now, there's 20 plays in that fourth quarter that impact the outcome. I mean, we focus on the turnover by Wemby. We focus on the missed shot. But there's like 20. Like Brunson's fadeaway is incredible. It's unbelievable. The Spurs run. Like the Knicks can't score. Everything. But the 1 shot changes the narrative of the series. It doesn't guarantee San Antonio wins, doesn't guarantee the Knicks win, but the 1 shot. But he missed it. And then it's Knicks up 2-0. He's young. They're not ready. You've got to grow. Brunson's Brunson. Cat's cat. The Knicks crowd. Everything on the 1 miss. Everything. On the 1, I mean, that's sports, right? 1 pitch, 1 catch, 1 shot. Everything can change, and yet we analyze the overall game, which there was a lot to do in game 2, but in the reality came down to 1 guy missed a shot. That shot at that moment, that if he makes it, totally different. And yet, 10 o'clock hour, WYJM Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach, and yet, Chris, I believe the pressure is on the Knicks tonight, more than San Antonio. And you may think that's insane. No. Very few people think the Spurs have a chance to win after dropping 2 games at home, and no team's ever not won after winning 2 on the road like that. Okay. But if the Knicks don't win tonight, outside of blaming a certain person, if the Knicks don't win tonight, then it's going to be, you better win game 4, because if you don't win game 4, you're in trouble. So all the pressure's on them, because for San Antonio, it is somewhat of a built-in excuse. The young team that is so much ahead of them, and they're not expected to win tonight. Again, to me, there's more pressure on the Knicks. But, oh, you can't. Then the Spurs are down 3-0. You don't expect them to win. You agree?
Yeah. I mean, San Antonio, you had to be feeling good. You got the first 2 games at home. You are the young team. And it was your chance at home, whether it was game 1 or game 2. You could have lost one of the 2 and still been fine. But to lose the first 2 games at home when you had a chance to make a statement, the pressure, I think they're going to come in loose. I think the Knicks, they might come in a little stiff, honestly. After stealing 2 in San Antonio, you're at home. Crowd's going to be rocking. You're going to have the president in attendance.
Who, by the way, it's going to be in
stiff.
James Dolan's box.
Yes.
Apparently will not be seated courtside. It'll be in James Dolan's box. The boxes at Madison Square Garden are way, way, way up. Yeah.
I think they're going to come out a little stiff. And San Antonio's going to have to take advantage of it.
Right. So I'm not a big believer in the carryover of one game to the next. I know we make it a narrative and so forth, but I still think every game it's its own event. Yes, the Knicks may come out jacked up with the crowd and not sure. Knicks haven't shot well to start the game in either of the 2 games thus far. Jalen Brunson hasn't been great in the first half of either game. So I expect the Spurs to play well tonight. I think the Knicks may play better, but because there's some things through 2 games that I don't know if the Spurs can fix. Doesn't mean they can't win, but I'm not quite sure they can fix. For example, he's not going to put on 40 pounds tonight. Or game 3, or game 4, and if there's a game 5. And Chris, and I say this, he will end up as one of the greatest players ever. He will, just because of his size. But he's never going to put on 30 or 40 more pounds. He's not. His body couldn't handle that. Like, he will, as he gets older, he'll grow in muscle mass a little bit more. But he's not going to put on 30, 40 more pounds. His body cannot handle that, and his game would not be the same. Doesn't mean he can't go on to be one of the great players ever. And again, I'm the idiot that kind of takes notes during a game. He had a great game in scoring in game 2, but I'm telling you, and I would argue it's more like 19, could be 15 points a game because he's 7'4". Like he just was able to do things because of his size. When he had to go one-on-one, he wanted no part of it. He wanted no part of it. Like, he's got one-on-one ISO with Karl Anthony Towns with a clear out. He took a fadeaway jump shot twice. Okay, then you can argue about the last possession. You can't stop when he's on he's the trailer and he gets the ball for the basket and foul that puts him up the lead. You can't stop. Well, his last step was beyond the foul line, okay, and he's at the rim. That is why he'll be one of the greatest players ever, because you can't stop that.
Right.
So, and he's not the only reason why they're down 0-2, okay? They've had some periods where they can't make shots, and they're having matchup problems, but he's had a problem defending Karl Anthony Towns, and he's had a problem when Towns defends him. Now, I said going into game 2, when Towns picked up a third foul was going to be important, and he got himself in foul trouble in the third quarter. He picked up the 4th, and he was in foul trouble. But the turnover by Wemby, it's a massive play. If the Knicks win the championship, it'll be part of why the Spurs didn't win. I tend to think, Chris, when the career of Victor Wembanyama is done, that won't be a key moment. Like, I'm guessing he's going to win MVPs and probably will win if not multiple championships. His career is going to be fine. But right now, that's a big play. It's a massive play in that game.
I'm trying to think of where that blunder lines up, because the play that always comes back to my mind is J.R. Smith with the Cavs. And then you have the LeBron James, Wemby just.
Yeah, the difference, though, in all fairness, J.R. Smith had been playing for a while and was viewed as a guy that would make a mistake like that. With Wemby, I think a totally different perception of player. But you can drop these things about odd plays and bad moments, and It's on him. And if they lose this series quickly, sure, people remember that play. I'm just saying, by the time we're done with his career, a decade plus from now, I think it's going to be fine. I think he'll be okay. But I do think there's tremendous pressure on New York tonight, simply because, again, if you lose at home, then you got to win Game 4, and then the pressure really gets higher. But Brunson, it's a great sports story outside of the obnoxious part of the Knicks and everything. And Chris, we've talked about this before. He's likable, right?
Yeah.
He's likable. We like the little guy, and he's very likable, which is hard to play on a New York team where most of the country just wants them to lose because of the obnoxious level of their fans. And I get that, but he's likable. And would you agree, in the fourth quarter, he's must-watch TV?
Yeah.
And
100%.
I think the Spurs coaching staff, and it's Sean Sweeney on the defensive side, the next Magic coach, they made adjustments in Game 2. They jumped Brunson more. They tried to double him. They picked him up either right across half court or even in the back court, and the officials let them play, kind of bump defense. They did things to make it harder for him, but the dude still found ways to make plays in the fourth quarter.
The Knicks are going to have to rely on him heavily tonight, though. I think he's got to shoot better if they're going to win tonight.
Okay, if he shoots better, San Antonio's in really big trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, really big trouble, because and the assumption of how one played in a game before doesn't necessarily carry over to the next game. I mean, when it works, we like to use that. But one of the biggest, well, outside of Cat on Wemby, outside of Brunson's clutch gene in the fourth quarter, the other part the Knicks have a big advantage of is their role players are doing their job. I mean, Landry Shamet, make a three. Deuce McBride, make a three. Alvarado, just be a pest and make a few plays. And they've done that. They've done that. Now, Dylan Harper's been really good for San Antonio, but then they've got key guys that go into a shooting funk that just kind of disappear. So, again, if Brunson shoots well at the start, the Spurs are in big trouble. But I'll say it again tonight. It is, tell me when Karl-Anthony Towns, if Karl-Anthony Towns gets a second foul in the first quarter or a third foul by mid-second quarter, that's a problem.
Is that something that the Spurs are going to have to try and focus on? Is trying to get
You have to try to get him in foul trouble. Because what you have to hope, if you're San Antonio, in my view, in the first half, you need just one of those stupid arm fouls that Cat tends to do, where he just tangles with somebody and he gets called for the foul. Okay, then you need two fouls where you're driving to the basket and they got to call it. That's why at times I look at Wembayama like, you just have to, because he's doing it to you. You got to go on guard him because he can shoot a 30-foot three, okay? And the one step to the basket, he's blown by Wembayama. You have to try to answer that by making Cat have to stop you and hope that you get enough body contact that they call a foul. But even there were two ISO plays of OG Anunoby on Wembayama. He passed both times. Like, you need him. Like, these guys talk about, Greg Popovich said you gave both games away. I would think if Pop has a one-on-one with Wemby, he's like, you got to be tough. You got to answer him. You got to be able to get physical back because your height's going to give you an advantage, and you got to get him in foul trouble. And if he's in foul trouble, Mitchell Robinson is good in the stretches that he plays. You got to extend his minutes, and all of a sudden then he's a liability when the fouls come into play. That's not good for the Knicks.
How much is Wemby hurting mentally right now? I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's a huge factor.
Meaning what? That this has got to his head about how he's gone the two games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't argue that. I guess I said I don't think it, meaning I don't know, is like we played a clip on the bridge about pressure. I think his feeling is, I've not played well. Now I've got to play well. And if I play well, I think we can win. ... But that Karl-Anthony Towns guy's been a pain in my you-know-what. He's totally different than playing Hartenstein and Chet Holmes. Totally Holmgren.
Well, Chet Holmgren is essentially a shorter version of Wemby. Tall, lanky, but not a big body. Where Cat's at least
Yeah.
a little bit more bigger. He can body up.
Oh, he's
Wemby.
a lot bigger in the sense of just bumping you, and
that's really affecting Wemby.
Yeah. But I still think there's a ton of pressure on the Knicks tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You're back home. You can't think about a game 4 closeout. You got to win game 3, but all that's looming there. And again, like I started this, you change the narrative. The Spurs change the narrative with a win tonight, and then it's all pressure on the Knicks in game 4. Just like in game 2, we're sitting here talking about Wemby, mental challenge. It's one shot, man. It's one shot. If they score in that last possession, whether he makes a shot or they did something else, the narrative's completely different. But we'll see how both teams kind of handle it tonight. Be an interesting start. Both teams, I think, will be jacked up. If I had to guess, I think
they're both going to shoot poorly to start.
Yeah.
Kind of par for the course.
I left out Mel Bridges, who was phenomenal in game 2. And it's not the greatest interview, but haven't clinched anything yet. Where's my Chipotle? Which he eats every day. So, yeah. Can I add one thing?
Yes.
Actually, it's a couple things about the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's 3 things. One, I love Inside the NBA being the pre and halftime and post, because it means other people that network uses are not on any of that stuff. So that's fantastic. Okay. And I accept the show for what the show is. Okay. 2, Mike Breen is fantastic at what he does. We're blessed right now with some incredible people calling games like this, and he's excellent. Even though he's the Nick announcer, I think even a diehard Spurs fan would agree he still calls a great game. Okay. The other part, and I get it, it's part of the business, and I'd be lying if I said that I wouldn't take the money. But the in-game gambling read, it's one thing to get Greenberg there, but at the start of the third quarter, Tim Legler's telling me about my bonus bet opportunity right now. Like, man, have we've just gone the level of anything. Because Legler's reading the copy like, I got to do this. I got to read the copy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Again, it's all about the money, but.
Oh, and the other thing is, again, I cannot stand the in-game interview.
I was waiting for that one.
I cannot stand it with the player and coach. It gives you nothing other than you forcing the players and coach to do it. It adds absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's all chalk. It's what you'd expect them to say.
Miking up the players and coaches and playing that back out of a timeout. I love it. It's great. I love it. Like during the Stanley Cup final, John Tortorella's mic'd up. I'd pay to hear that feed. Okay, I love that stuff. But the interview, it's the worst.
Even if they're mic'd up, they're cognizant that they're mic'd up, so they still.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Especially if you hear the Tortorella stuff, which I have to edit. No, I don't think the in-game stuff, which I like hearing that back. It's just let's go now to Lisa Salters, who's got Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he doesn't want to do it.
Nobody
wants to be in the huddle with the team. It's an extended timeout. Then everybody knows it's not live because it comes back. It's in the small boxes. The game's going on. It just it serves no purpose. And we're doing this in football games too now. Yeah.
Why do you think we do it? Or why do you think networks do it?
Because I think they feel like it's the access that, we paid a lot of money for this, so we get access for it. And I don't know, maybe you're not in the minority. I don't know any fan going, shh, quiet. Karl Anthony Towns is going to speak between the first and second quarter.
But no replay.
Like, what is he going to say? Wait till you see what I do to Wemby in the second quarter? It's not like pro wrestling. Yeah.
But no replay transparency.
No replay. Oh, hearing. Oh, yeah. No, none of that. None of that. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Back more of the Beat of Sports next. So, Chris, I want you to follow along with something here.
All right.
All right? Follow along with something. 2 days ago, the NCAA formally rejected the appeal of Brendan Sorsby to get his eligibility. Okay, before we get to what happened minutes ago, 2 days ago, Sorsby and his legal team, with the support of Texas Tech, formally asked the NCAA to reinstate him using the position of, look, he's acknowledged wrongdoing. He's gone for treatment for an addiction. We think that you should take that into account and recognize what he's done and what he's acknowledged and restore his eligibility so he can play football this year at Texas Tech. And the NCAA formally rejected that and said, we do not accept your case because he broke the most important rule that we believe we have, and that is what?
Don't gamble on don't gamble on your own sport, but don't gamble on your own team.
So they formally reject their request for his eligibility to be restored. So this morning, as the sun rose in Lubbock, Texas, I happen to like Lubbock, Texas. Hard to get there, okay? Hard to get there, but I like Lubbock. When the sun rose this morning in Lubbock, Texas, a judge woke and I'm assuming got up, brushed teeth, maybe a shave, and went to a courthouse. Now, the original judge that Brendan Sorsby's legal team was going to get in front of recused himself because I guess the picture of you hugging the Texas Tech mascot wasn't really a good optic thing. So he recused. I said, hey, I'm out. Well, Lubbock may not be that big, but there's more than one judge in Lubbock. So this morning, a judge in Lubbock, Texas, ruled Brendan Sorsby is eligible to play football this season. In a district court in Lubbock County, Texas, the judge has granted the injunction requested by Sorsby and at the moment is eligible to play in the 2026 season. Hard stop. Hard stop. Chris, you know how over the years I've said this, we've talked about the system of college sports many, 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 many times, okay? I've defended the NCAA, not saying they're not saying that they've done nothing wrong to get us to where we are. Okay, they have. But they often take the blame for things that they have nothing to do with. You know, when people scream, oh, the NCAA, they don't realize that, no, you're yelling in an empty office. Okay, the president of the NCAA doesn't get up and make policy. It needs the schools and the presidents that represent those schools to agree to policy, okay? But they're easy to blame. Oh, they're this. Okay, all right. Who do you want to blame for this one? Who do you want to blame for this one? Okay, one of the few rules on the book that they think would hold up, okay? The whole thing about can't pay players or amateurs, okay? They lost that one many times in court, okay? Lost it many times in court. You got to transfer, but you got to sit out of you. They lost that in court, okay? You get the one free transfer. They lost that in court, okay? Beaten down, picked on, kicked, stepped on, spat on, all that stuff. The one thing that they were clinging to was if you gamble on your own team, we feel pretty good that everybody else will agree that's a no-no, right? Looking around the room, you're like, and all the other mascots would nod, yeah, that one. Until today. Okay? Until today. Because, and by the way, as recent as 4 days ago, players involved in an NCAA tournament game were charged with game fixing. Okay? That held up. They're facing criminal charges. Okay? He, record after record after record after gambling account, it just wagered on his own team. And today, at least at the moment, has been granted eligibility to play. What do you want them to do? You can blame them for everything. But what do you want them to do with this one? Seriously, what do you want them to do with this one? They rule him ineligible. Okay? Then, by their own bylaws, the player has the right to file a formal appeal to the initial ruling. It's in the bylaws, okay? We rule you ineligible. Why? Because we got this data, this evidence that shows what you did. Not speculation, proven. So you're not eligible. You have a right to an appeal. Okay, here's the appeal. The appeal is, hey, have a heart. Be consistent in your penalties. He's sorry. He got treatment for the addiction. Now let him play because you're harming his ability of making money. Sorry, we got to hold the ground on this one. He's not eligible until this morning. My guess is the NCAA will take this to the next level and fight it. And I don't know where it goes. But just a reminder, and Chris, if you think I'm wrong, chime in. I don't know Brendan Sorsby personally, other than him playing against UCF and watching him play. That's the extent of what I know of Brendan Sorsby. Okay? You do realize he didn't come clean. He was caught. You understand that? Like, when he transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, Chris, I don't think when he sat down with Joey McGuire, the Texas Tech coach, for the first time when they met, said, man, I really appreciate, thank you so much for having me in here. Before we even talk about finances, let me just tell you, I've got a gambling addiction. I'm going to guess the conversation didn't go that way because the story is people caught wind of what his problem was, and the story was breaking. There was going to be reports of this, and then his people said, well, we better get out ahead of this and play the victim route. And don't forget what they told you. One of his excuses was, I wanted to feel better acclimated with a team when I wasn't playing. Look, I've said this before. Any person that battles an addiction hopefully gets treatment for that addiction, is able to get it under control and go on to living a normal life. And I would believe that for Brendan Sorsby as well. He doesn't have to play football at Texas Tech this year. Well, if you take that away from his life, there are consequences for actions here, okay? He still is possibly going to face charges because of where he placed some of those bets and how he did it. And he may laugh at the underage thing, but that, may come into play. But what do you want the NCAA to do now? I mean, you can yell at them all you want. What would you like them to do? Because they've been screaming for years, we set rules. You all agreed to these rules, including the gambling part. Like when they went around the room that day and said, hey, we're all good on if you gamble, you lose your eligibility for life. Everyone puts their hands up or formally voted. What do you want them to do? And here one of their members is sitting going, well, I mean, yeah, he gambled, but he's sorry. And we really need him to play because we spent a lot of money and we're going to be pretty good this year. So he should play. What do you want the NCAA to do?
It's okay, Mark. He's suspended, though, for the first 2 games against Abilene Christian and Oregon State. So there's the punishment. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Pete Rose.
By the way, that's a self-imposed penalty. No, that's their self-imposed penalty. That hasn't been agreed to by anybody. The NCAA wants him banned. Yeah.
So we're gonna keep Pete Rose out of the MLB Hall of Fame, out of the Baseball Hall of Fame for gambling, we're going to. Who knows what's going to happen with Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and all that?
Well, Terry Rozier gave up a $26 million salary, and he faces legal issues here.
We're seeing guys at lower level D1 schools who are more than likely going to be done.
Yeah, we just had a game fixing.
But because it's Texas Tech, because it's Brendan Sorsby, and he's making $5+ million. That's the line in the sand. Big name can't have that.
You ever see the clips though? I should send you of people just like me, this idiot, that do shows like this that justify and go, hey, he acknowledged he had a problem. He went and got help. They're willing to suspend him a couple of games. What more do you want to do? And all I say is, if Arch Manning had the same thing happen to him, if the same thing happened to him, if you're in Lubbock, you're like, he should play. I don't see what the big deal is. He should play, right? I mean, there's some things that you can see how someone defends something and be like, hey, yeah, okay, he's got 4 parking violations for parking in a spot on campus that's a faculty member, and he should pay the $500 in total fine. I don't think that person needs to be suspended of a football game. This, and again, take it back to everything else, because here's why it does matter in my defense of the NCAA. Okay, when everybody agreed to the rules on transfers, which was if you transferred, you had to sit out a year. Everybody agreed to that. Then someone goes to court, and a judge goes, "Well, that's stupid." Can of worms opened up. Then we said, okay, all right, you get the one-time transfer. Everybody voted for it. It passed by a massive number. Then we went to court, and the judge says no. Then it became free transfers. Like, you could pick on them and said they should have the foresight years ago, but here's their response. Guys, you voted for this. We didn't just enforce it. Like, if you're the president of the NCAA, you don't get to wake up today and go, I got a new rule. Today's rule is the game ends at 80 in basketball. It's a rule. No, you have to get approval from your members. What do you want them to do whenever they have a rule that everybody voted on? And they go, well, we're going to go to court. We're going to find a judge in our district who's going to rule in our favor. That's their fault. That's their fault. Again, they're not guilt-free in all this, but that's their fault? Come on. Yeah. And you know what? And listen, they're in the Big 12. They're enemy number 1 in the country, and they will love it. They will absolutely love this, right? I mean, they will love it. We're the bad boys. We're the bad guys. Hate us, everything, and yeah. And Cody Campbell will tell you why it's right.
I'm anxious to see what he would have to say.
He needs the quarterback. He spent tens of millions of dollars on this roster. This roster is not built of 50 donors. This roster is built on about 5 or 6 donors. Their roster is north of $50 million. They are an SEC payroll because of that one guy. He needs this kid playing because they've spent money elsewhere. Yeah.
So why do we even have rules? Why do we have rules in college football?
Chris, you're the NCAA looking out at your members going, what do you want me to do? I mean, if you guys are just going to go, we'll find a judge. Again, we just went through this in basketball, and it opened the wave of this European invasion. We've got teams signing guys that are 24 years old, counting them as freshmen in college basketball that are on a 3rd pro contract. And the NCAA saying, you had rules. You had rules. We want to change the eligibility rules. Okay, we'll change them, but you'll get sued. I mean, you'll sue us again. Incredible. But he's going to miss Abilene Christian and Oregon State. I mean, there's a penalty there.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Don't be. Why? What shocks you anymore about this, though? What shocks you? Why would you be shocked by this?
So again, I go back to why do we even have rules? Why not have guys
Chris,
who
we
are
don't-
28, 29, 30 years old playing college football?
Well,
Why do we have
hold on. There's a new eligibility proposal.
proposal?
No, listen, okay. That basically starts a clock. Wait, let me finish. That starts a clock, depending on when you graduate or at the age of 19 starts a clock. Okay, listen, I think it's going to pass. Okay? And it takes one person to go to court.
That's what I'm saying. So why
Right.
do we even have rules? Why
Chris,
do we even have rules?
Chris, you're echoing the frustrations of the governing body that says you keep blaming us for everything, but every time we create a rule, you just go find a judge to throw the rule out. So what do you want us to do? Which is why I maintain you think the SEC and Big Ten could break off and follow rules? What makes you think that then they're going to agree to follow rules? Right?
I mean, what do we do at this point?
I don't know.
Because who knows how many players are gambling?
No, it's a lot more than you think, Daddy-O.
And probably
think.
fixing their own game. So at some point,
I don't know about
the
that.
integrity of the sport is going to come into question.
No, what I'm saying about gambling is I think some people would be shocked to realize how many athletes in college sports gamble, probably not on their team, but just gamble. $5 here, $5 there, and think it's no big deal because it's easy to do. You'd be alarmed. I mean, I'm telling you, it would blow your mind away. We come back. You count a salary for a player, but let me tell you about another deal this guy got that makes his salary look small. Next. Couple of things that I wanted to get to you, Chris. One, I've said this throughout the year, and I'll say it again. And I know a couple of people went to the Orlando Storm game yesterday in Daytona. Okay, and I think the announcer crowd was just over 6,000. They lost after beating DC twice and got beat. If you go to those games, you have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. And as I've said this for years, I said the same thing about UCF football when it played at the Citrus Bowl, which is a long time ago, and even now at the Bounce House, about the Orlando Pride and about Orlando City. We sometimes measure a team's success by the capacity of the stadium they play in, and sometimes it doesn't apply. If the Cowboys draw 55,000 at their current stadium, that's a problem. Okay, that's a big problem, right? But if for whatever reason TCU, and they just redid their stadium, but if TCU was under construction and they let them play at Jerry's World for their schedule and they drew 45,000, is that a bad crowd because it's not filling to capacity? The answer is no. My point is, I don't know what the crowd in the eyes of some people should be for a team like the Orlando Storm. Maybe it's 6,000. And I don't know how much of that is comp tickets or paid tickets, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a good time. And if it's your cup of tea, great. Same deal with the Orlando Pride. Someone's like, I was at the Pride game. There's only like 5,000 people here, and they want a champion. Maybe that's the crowd. Now, if the league, NWSL or the UFL, Mike Rapoli's case, thinks, hey, it's not worth it, we can go someplace and draw more, that's up to them to do the numbers. But I don't know why people think, well, they should be drawing 20,000. Why? Maybe 6, 7, 8,000 is the actual number of their. Now you can grow with it, and if people go to a game, have a good time, and they bring their friends. But I have no idea if the team's coming back. Except for Mike Rapoli to decide. I'm going to guess they lost a lot of money in Orlando this past year because they probably thought that they would draw more. Playing at the stadium, I don't think it was a bad idea. But I same thing with the Pride. I don't know if that's a bad number. Maybe that's just the size of your fan base. Like if UCF had 70,000 seats at the Bounce House and they averaged 45,000, people would be like, you can't fill up your own stadium. No, maybe 45,000 is the realistic number.
Yeah, it's hard to judge these spring leagues. I mean, it's football. We're addicted to football, but these spring leagues, just for whatever reason, they never seem to work. And it's, it'll be a fun day out.
It doesn't work because of NFL public acceptance, meaning you need to see that logo and see the affiliation. As I said, of all the years since they brought back spring, there's nothing wrong with the quality of play. Nothing wrong with it. Players go and get NFL opportunities. If you go in thinking you're watching an NFL game, it's more about you. But there's nothing wrong with the quality of play. It's the vision people see of a somewhat empty stadium, and they don't see NFL names that make them feel like, oh, this is legitimate. But the players and there's nothing wrong with the product. It's not the National Football League. And the fan bases are the fan bases. There may not be another 20,000 people in your city waiting to go to those games.
How can these spring leagues, how can Mike Rapoli maybe use psychology? Because when you see on TV a stadium that's half empty, 3/4 empty, and you're watching it on TV, you're like, it's empty. I don't want to go to that.
Well, I think he's tried to get smart by identifying some of the smaller. I think the Louisville team plays in a place that seats 10 to 12,000 people. So if you've got 8,000 people, it doesn't look as empty. I think he's tried to identify that. I don't profess to know anything that is going to make crowds get back to the old USFL and even the XFL. I don't know how you could do that because even today, the entertainment world's changed of Vince McMahon's XFL idea. And it's up to, in this case, Mike Rapoli to decide how much money he wants to lose. He's coming back next year because the TV deal. And I don't know what the number is going to be. I'm going to guess the number yesterday is probably going to be 700,000, 800,000, might be 1 million people. They'll take that number in the summertime. for when they played. Same deal. Fox played a game at 6 o'clock last night. They'll be back because ESPN and Fox are committed to coming back. It fills programming for them. Not because it was ABC, but I'm watching college baseball. If I went 3 channels down, the National Pinball Championship was on ESPN News. So, which, by the way, was pretty cool. I got to admit to watch. It's not just total points, by the way. You're probably thinking. It's how fast you get the total points. So each of us can get 50 million points in the pinball. If I do it in 2 minutes, you do it in 3, I win. Yeah. So the content, I mean, they'll do it. It's just how much is the person paying the bills? And in this case, it's Mike Rapoli. It ain't ESPN and Fox because they structure the TV deal so that they're not going to lose their shirt on anything with this.
I just don't know how to make it work. I mean, maybe
no, this is it. It's just how you can limit the money you're investing or spending and losing. And that's the problem because at some point, based on what you're paying players, you've got to get a return. And if you're not getting that return, then that's why these things end up going the way that they go. It's got nothing to do with quality of play, nothing to do with coaching.
Given the way the world is today and everyone's obsession with streaming and YouTubers and stuff like that, influencers, do they look at trying to incorporate that somehow? Maybe they get a stronger ROI?
I don't know. I've not done the research or I don't know what the average age of a person that goes to UFL game, if the demographic is significantly different than the NFL. I'm going to guess it's not. It might be skewed a little bit younger because maybe parents take kids because it's cheaper to go to UFL game than to try to go to an NFL game. But I'm not quite sure that the demographics are that different.
Is there could you make a comparison to attendance from, say, minor league baseball games to UFL games?
I don't think so. Minor league baseball, there's enough data over the decades that people go because the minor league team successfully entertains them. Players come and go in minor league baseball. During a season, players come and go. It's the entertainment, it's the theme nights, it's the concessions, it's going out to the ballpark, it's what your stadium looks like. The players on the field, there's enough data that shows the players in the field to some degree don't matter. Now, it's better to win than lose, but people go to minor league baseball games across this country because they have fun at the ballpark. Now, does that mean you do more at the I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of how you could get more people to go to these games to make sure it lasts.
I don't know what that format is. That's for, in this case, Mike Rapoli and his people to figure it out. I got to shift the other story. I was going to talk about the 11 o'clock hour. We're late. The 11 o'clock hour kicks off with the news next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes. Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. By the way, quick promotion. Next segment, why I believe, and someone's going to come on and explain why I think the Ray Stadium deal is dead in Tampa. Dead.
Wow.
Doesn't mean they can't figure it out, but why I think it's, at least in its current model, is dead. Doesn't mean they're coming here, but why I think they're in big trouble in Tampa. That's called a tease, kids. Don't try that at home. Court news this morning. A judge in Lubbock, Texas, ruled in favor of quarterback Brendan Sorsby to regain his eligibility for the 2026 college football season after the NCAA denied his request to have his eligibility restored. They got a judge this morning to make a ruling that grants him eligible to give him an injunction that allows him to play for the upcoming 2026 season. However, he apparently is going to sit a couple of games against Abilene Christian and Oregon State.
That'll show him.
Wager.
Well, maybe he might wager to, acclimate himself with his new teammates like he did in Indiana. The NCAA put out a strongly worded letter disagreeing with the judge's ruling. What else do you want them to do? They will appeal the judge's ruling.
I can't wait to see what Texas Tech puts out.
I'm sure the president, if he hasn't put out something already, will have a statement. Game 4, the NBA, or Game 3 of the NBA Finals happens tonight. First time in 27 years, the Knicks will host an NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden. Tip time is set for just after 8:30. President Trump will be attending tonight's game, sitting in James Dolan's box. Because of that and security Secret Service measures, there'll be no outdoor watch party tonight in Madison Square Garden. Doesn't mean there won't be watch parties elsewhere, but you've seen this at a lot of NBA teams outside, the fans that don't get in, that will not be allowed tonight because of security. No bags can come in tonight. Lots of security measures, and fans have been asked to arrive extra early because of security to get in tonight. They'll play Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow. If you've not watched this, you're not a hockey fan, you probably won't watch, but if you're a casual fan, you might want to watch. It's been unbelievable. 3 games thus far in the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas leads 2 games to 1. Nelly Corda won the U.S. Women's Open by a stroke at Riviera yesterday. Had an interesting putt that almost looped out on 18. She wins the second major of the year, the men's U.S. Open, in a couple of weeks. U.S. played their final tune-up before the World Cup on Friday, which gets underway for them. Lost 2-1 to Germany. If you're a glass-half-full person, the U.S. played fairly well after a slow start. They take on Paraguay 9 o'clock Friday for their World Cup Open, and the World Cup begins on Thursday.
We showed them.
Didn't really show. I mean, we lost 2-1, but played fairly
We
well.
showed them.
Golden Tempo did win the Belmont Stakes, an incredible last to first place stretch run again. But the horse that takes 2 legs to the Triple Crown did not race in the Preakness. And I did not think the horse would win. I will give the horse credit. Had an incredible closing half mile. Quick side story, Chris. Some people jumped on Twitter and said, do you realize that Golden Tempo's time was 20 seconds faster than Secretariat's Belmont Stakes win that won the Triple Crown? It shows you the technology and how horses are made today. The Belmont typically is run at 1.5 miles. Because of the configurations of Saratoga in the 3 years it's been there, it's running 1.25 miles. That's why the time was faster. If you take the equivalent of what Golden Tempo's time would have been for the 1.5 miles, it would have lost the Secretariat by 26 lengths. So before you jump to go, look at that time. That's a record time. Yeah. They ran it 1.25 miles, not 1.5 miles.
Don't kill their dream, Mark.
Yeah. It's just funny. Yeah. Kimi Antonelli wins his 5th straight race in the F1 circuit in Monaco. So, Chris, you're not an F1 fan, but my wife and I get up, watch. The race began at 9 a.m. yesterday, right? And our favorite driver is Max Verstappen, okay? He's not going to win this year. It's off to a really slow start, but he's on the front row and ready for the start. And the key at Monaco is if you sit on the pole in qualifying, you win. You can't pass. It would be like trying to pass on Park Avenue on a Saturday night. Okay? And as the race starts, Max blows out right there. Doesn't even get out. Yeah, but the whole thing about Monaco is the wealth that's there. Shad Khan's boat, $360 million boat was there. Yeah. $360 million boat. Not bad. Let's see. What else do we have for you? College baseball yesterday. Georgia, Mississippi State wrapped up a super regional, which Georgia won. Kristen, 2 games. The two teams combined for 21 home runs.
So that's either really good hitting or really bad pitching.
So since they changed the configurations of the bat, you used to use like real aluminum bats. Okay, then we go, well, so since they've changed that to how the bat can be constructed in 2011, it's the most home runs ever hit in a super regional in 2 games with 21. The 2 games were incredible, but 21 home runs hit.
That's a lot.
It is a lot of home runs. And again, yesterday in the UFL playoffs, our Orlando Storm lost to DC 28-22. It'll be Louisville and DC in the UFL title game. The 2 favorites lost yesterday. St. Louis lost and Orlando lost. The predetermined site is DC, so DC now plays a home game for the UFL championship. And Jacob Mizorowski threw 103.7 miles an hour. Topped his mark of 103.6. It's the fastest pitch thrown by a starting pitcher since 2008. And yesterday, 45 of his 98 pitches were clocked at 101 or more. Since the start of May, his ERA is 0.2. His last 7 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run in 45 1/3. That's good. That's really good.
How long has he been pitching for?
In the major leagues?
Yeah.
2+ years.
Do you think he makes it to 10 years throwing that hard?
No.
Do you think he makes it to 5 years throwing that hard?
Yes. But the arm will break down.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But it's fun to watch right now. Like I marvel at it. When the number goes up, you're just like, that's unbelievable. It's the hand-eye coordination to try to hit that is insane. And by the way, it's not straight. It's got movement.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
That's disgusting.
I'm not telling you the Rays are moving to Orlando. But in my opinion, their deal in Tampa is in big trouble. More on that next.
Hey, it's Johnny Magic from Johnny's house.
Look, we've got you covered with the hits and what's going on in the city beautiful.
And Mark, he's got everything you need to know in the sports world, with maybe a touch of sarcasm.
This is the Beat of Sports with Marc Daniels.
So I said before teasing our next guest, I think the Rays' current stadium plan is in trouble. That doesn't mean they're moving to Orlando and the Dreamers are about to lock down the deal, but I think the current model is in trouble in Tampa. Our next guest may add to some things that explains what might be happening. Peter Schwartz covers politics in our state for Florida Politics. Is kind to join us as he's followed this because it's not just what Hillsborough and Tampa. There's state dollars involved here, and there's also property tax initiative stuff related. And Peter's kind of give us some time. Peter, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Can I start here on the political side? Can you explain in a common sense approach the whole property tax initiative and why that now actually is a part of the Ray Stadium deal that may make this not as simple as people thought?
Well, so there is now going to be a property tax ballot question in November, reducing property taxes, which there's a lot of support for. But it still has to be sold. Ron DeSantis is going to be the chief salesman of that project. But at the same time, he is one of the people had his people and other lawmakers put in about $150 million into the state budget to move Hillsborough College away to make room for the Rays Stadium deal. So on one hand, he's saying, hey, wait a second, property taxes are way too high. Well, we need to cut them. And on the other hand, he's saying, hey, wait a second, property taxes are pretty good. Why don't we use some part of them to fund a new stadium for the Rays deal? So I call it a self-own at this point because Ron DeSantis has been one of the biggest cheerleaders for the Rays Stadium deal in Tampa, but he may actually be undercutting it with his property tax initiative.
Can I go back and ask you, was there any blowback on the land deal that they did to give the land of Hillsborough County to the idea of the stadium project? Was there much pushback on that?
There was a little bit. It rolled into another. It was actually decided by the state cabinet. CFO Blaise Ignolia. He's been going around doing all the Doge and the FAFO press conferences saying local government is spending too much. But then again voted for the money to go for the Rays Stadium deal. So in a way, you may be onto something here. There was a little bit of the contradiction of this, that you're going to be publicly financing a baseball stadium while at the same time asking people to cut their taxes.
So as you mentioned, the idea of X amount of dollars to go toward this, it popped up in the Tampa Bay area a few days ago going, wait a minute, what happens if that money's not there and all of a sudden trying to make the math work before the property tax initiative stuff came up was not easy? This is a potential wrench in their deal, is it not?
It is, and I will say, and I haven't really reported it yet fully out, but I can tell you a couple of key state lawmakers, they're powerful in Hillsborough, powerful in Tampa Bay, but also powerful in Tallahassee. And they were the ones, as the budget was being wrapped up, the state budget in Tallahassee, so much was going on last week. One of them called me and said, hey, by the way, the Rays deal is in trouble. And quite honestly, I was so busy with, hey, they're landing the plane on the state budget, which had taken so long to get done. And the MOU was already done that I really hadn't put two and two together. But talking to two state lawmakers, they're like, hey, wait a second. We've been talking to the local folks on this, and they're saying, hey, wait a second, could be a little bit of trouble here. And so that is now playing out. I think you've seen my reporting. I think there was a column by the Tampa Bay Times, John Romano, who's followed it closely and said, hey, this thing could be in a little bit of trouble. The Rays are pushing back and saying, hey, wait a second. If you want to increase revenue for Hillsborough and Tampa, well, why not build this big baseball stadium and then you can get some more and all the mixed use around it? Then you will have more property tax dollars. I just don't know if that's going to jive. It's the Tampa City Council voting as the CRA. That's the next key vote. And I don't know if they're going to buy in on that.
Peter, I know some of the, and this is more of the Hillsborough Tampa area, some of the money has bothered people because it's coming from other funds that are supposed to go towards other things, including emergency situation stuff. And that's drawn some blowback where commissioners have said, wait a minute, you can't just assume these dollars work. And then the thought that this MOU may get pushed back of a formal vote. But, and you've seen this in Tallahassee, the minute you start putting pen to paper to add things up, at some point, someone's got to say the numbers work. And right now it looks like that's crumbling because of all the different dollar streams that they're trying to put together here.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of bent noses on some of the money, a very small amount percentage-wise, but some of the money is coming for, the funding that was going to go to people that had gotten damaged during the hurricanes that had hit Tampa 2 years ago. And so they're like, wait a second, we haven't even rebuilt our homes, and now you want to build a stadium for the Rays. If I were the Rays, I would have shaved off that. I think it was about $100 million. There's several billionaires invested in that. I think they would have done a lot better. I think they would have bought $100 million worth of public relations if they would have not dipped into some of these other funds to get to where they needed to be. But, one of the things, and I keep saying this, the main owner here, Patrick Zalupkis, if you look at his stock price for his company, it has dramatically downsized since when he bought the Rays. It's kind of the ticking time bomb of the Rays situation that the principal shareholder, I think it's down to, let's say when he bought the Rays, it was $26 a share. Last time I checked, it's something like $14 a share. So a little bit of a pinch, like a lot of us are going through right now.
Look, I think in the end, lawmakers tend to cave, and maybe they'll figure out a way to get this done. But I'm going to ask you from a Tallahassee standpoint, what have you noticed if you look at similar projects like this, where those that have to be voted back into office tend to react to things like this? Because, listen, if someone's leaving office, hey, I'm out. I'll vote whatever I want. But someone that wants to stay in position, that's when pressure really applies. And I think in some of the cases over at Hillsborough and state reps and senators, that's a real part of this, is it not?
I will tell you, I've been following the stadium saga since I worked for my grandfather on recalling the original city council people that voted for the money for in 1986, the original, it was the Thunderdome and then Tropicana Field. And those people got tossed out because they kind of railroaded through the money for the stadium. So yes, I would, and that is what happens is the people that are on their way out, they're like, hey, I'm going to do what I think is best. But when there's people that are up for an election, man, this turns into an election issue like no other.
Last, and I guess sometimes I'm guilty of this, and I'm not picking on the Bay Area media, but it is an interesting PR battle. The media always wants this, right? Everybody wants the ballpark, the renderings, all the simulations. It looks great. And then they're the ones that yell, I guess, at watchdogs to a degree, like you, although you're a media person, stop pointing out numbers. Don't do that. It happens every time, doesn't it?
I mean, you got to think about it. A local newspaper has a sports section.
Yeah.
If there's not, 162 baseball games to report about, what do you put in that hole? And so, yes, some of the biggest cheerleaders for sports are the local newspapers. But then on the other hand, they start crunching the numbers and they're like, wait a second, this really doesn't make sense.
But the Tampa Bay Times is getting torched by that sports fan base because they think they're so anti-race here. I'm going to ask you just from a distance, do you think lawmakers figure it out there? Because you're trying to move a lot of dollars that may not add up. Do you think at some point enough people will cave and the Rays might come down and that they'll get a deal done?
I always do, and I will. I go from it from a different perspective. The Rays, it's the number 11 television studio or a television market in the country. The Rays exist for the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox to have somebody to play for. And so at the end of the day, I think for that reason, keeping that Tampa Bay market one way or the other is worth it to MLB. And that's why they didn't want them moving to Montreal. They didn't want them moving to Charlotte, et cetera. Now, Orlando, it's a comparable size media market. That's a lot more attractive than some of the other choices.
No, and from a standpoint of tourist dollars, there's no comparison. I mean, Orlando and Orange County make significantly more than Hillsborough and Tampa will ever. I do wonder if this deal falls apart, if somebody dares picks up the phone and calls St. Pete and what that conversation might be like. Hello, you guys want to talk? I think that would be
my wife is my wife is running the campaign of the front runner for the St. Pete mayoral race, and I will say we've had to game out. What happens when when your cheating husband comes home and wants to comes back in? Do you let him back in the door? And that's kind of where I think I've said to all my friends in St. Pete, you better be ready for the Rays to come back here in 30 and 31, because even if Orlando wins them or if Tampa wins them, I just don't see that the stadium's going to be done by 2029. And the labor issues that baseball's facing also, I think, are going to put a hitch in that. So I think the Rays will be playing in St. Pete to at least 2031.
Yeah, you might be right. It's a good point. Peter Schwartz covers politics at FloridaPolitics.com. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Take care.
He was in Rome, or is in Rome, or in Europe somewhere. I know he's on a trip, and he agreed and was kind of come on and talk, but he's traveling somewhere in Europe.
If I'm in Europe, I'm like, I might have to skip this interview.
Nice guy, though.
Yeah, good for him.
And I am not anti-Rays in Orlando or Tampa. I just that sometimes you got to be a realist here, and they are running into some number problems. And as he did a better job than me explaining on the property tax initiative, and I don't care where you sit politically on it. I mean, it's not a bad idea to take a look at what the governor has proposed, but there's also another side to things. And it's like, hey, the governor's pro stadium, pro Rays, get it done. It's like, well, kind of what you're supporting would actually take money out of that project there. And they've reached a point, and where Peter is right, that if they want to have a stadium ready to open by a certain season, they're running up against the clock, because you don't just build a stadium in 8 months. And I think they got real challenges in Tampa. Now, again, enough people may cave, but then there's that other team sitting over there asking for about $1 billion, right? In the Buccaneers. That adds to all of the storyline in the Bay Area. I know you're looking up at the screen, and Chrissy's Fat Joe. Can't help but laugh. Yeah. I'm not picking on Fat Joe. I guess I am. Does anybody know the last time he did original music?
Nope.
I mean, ride the wave with the Knicks, right? Right?
Sure.
Chris, you sure you don't want to buy that Fat Joe seat that he sat in game 3 or 4 in Cleveland of all those other seats that are online?
That's
You know?
so ridiculous.
I'm not looking at Scott Harris, who has his hand up and wants to say something behind me. I'm not.
What are we doing?
Yeah. All right. When we come back, I teased a story earlier. A salary's one thing. Would this guy just cut? Holy smokes. We'll get to that next.
Hey, what's up? This is Pat Lynch.
And I'm talking about you're not rocking out with WJRR.
Lock it in here with Marc Daniels and the beat of sports.
Chris, do you believe that for sports superstars, how they conduct themselves, not just on their playing field, but with the media and fans goes obviously a long way in perception, right? I mean, part of what we do, we talk about good guys, not enough. We talk about bad guys too much and everything, right? And if you're perceived as a good guy, then we give you the benefit of the doubt, right? Give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
Like fair or not, Brendan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback, had a judge rule in his favor, give an injunction today, and now he's eligible to play this season. Okay? He's going to be labeled a bad guy by the rest of the country because of the image of him, right? He's the bad guy. Do you believe that Steph Curry is a superstar with a favorable rating?
Yes.
Okay. So after a long run of Under Armour products, Steph Curry has left Under Armour and was a free agent on the sneaker market. And even though, Chris, would you agree, how many years do you think Steph Curry's got left?
3, maybe max.
Max. I would agree with that. Okay. And still played great this year when healthy, but not as healthy as he normally is. Okay. So he signed a new sneaker deal. The deal with Li-Ning Sneakers will pay him $40 million a year. It's a 10-year deal. And I read a few different places. It's a cash deal, and then he gets product bonus based on what they sell. So it's basically a minimum $40 million on top of what he makes from an NBA contract, which we sometimes forget for the very, very, very few. You can make 8 figures in a sneaker deal. So, Chris, do a Google search if you can. What's Curry's contract for the 26-27 NBA season? I think it might be 60-something million. So now tack on the 40 that he gets in the new sneaker deal.
62.59 million.
So tack on the 40 in the sneaker deal and then whatever other endorsements, okay? Do you know anything about the sneaker company that he signed a deal with in China?
Li-Ning?
Yep.
No.
Anything about them?
Nope.
Nope. Nothing about them?
Nope.
They're banned in the United States. They're banned in the United States. Do you want to know why and how long they've been banned?
Tell me.
So they've been banned in this country since March of 2022. That ban's not getting lifted anytime soon. They were banned after investigations revealed that the Chinese sportswear company utilized North Korean labor in its supply chain, which is a violation of U.S. sanctions. It wasn't just the fact they were using North Korean workers. There's a question about the age of some of the workers and about how much they outsource to North Korea. So their product's banned in this country. Anybody got a problem with Steph Curry's new deal? You haven't heard anything about it.
I knew that he signed it.
Right. But you didn't know the company. Like, okay, maybe there's companies I don't know. So he's going to endorse and wear sneakers that are banned in this country. Now, I'm not aware
How's
of how they
do that.
I'm not aware, and I was trying to do some research last couple of days. I don't know how they get around it to sell Steph Curry sneakers here. If their logo, it's their sneaker, that product is banned in America. Now, I may be missing something here. Maybe there's a loophole. Maybe they don't care because their product's available elsewhere. And maybe just having his name affiliated with it is going to pay for itself. And then so in China alone, it may. And I'm not getting into the politics game here for Daryl Morey or LeBron James, but he just signed a massive deal, 10 years, which will take him well past his playing days and making a ton of money to do it with a product that is not available in this country, that is banned. You didn't know this, did you?
Nope.
Yeah.
And now it makes me look at him differently.
How?
Why are you endorsing a company that is banned in a country for violating laws, for having poor work, like the working conditions, the age of kids making these shoes?
The new agreement will include basketball products, athleisure lifestyle wear, the ability for Curry to sign male and female athletes under his brand, and a full golf line. I mean, he loves his golf and everything.
So yeah, I look at him differently.
Here's a question. Will anybody ask him and get an answer? I'm guessing at some point. The release of most stories that people picked up was the standard release of Steph with the company. It wasn't a interview opportunity. And I'm just saying, Steph's perceived as one of the really good guys. And when you're perceived as one of the really good guys, we tend to just go, oh, okay. And I'm not calling for stop buying anything that Steph Curry bought. I'm just pointing out something that I don't think people knew. You may have seen, Steph Curry signing a sneaker deal. I don't know, that company must be a foreign company. He signed with a company whose product is banned in America. You cannot buy their products here. So
I look at him differently now.
You do?
I do.
Really? Okay.
And it brings into question, like, how, like, when you see the made in China, made here, made there, how they are getting made.
Yeah. Remember when Daryl Morey said his stuff about China and the criticism he got when they went to LeBron James, he realized we sell sneakers there. I got to be careful what I say. And then that became a political firestorm. And at the moment, I'm not aware of the, hey, Steph, and I'm going to guess his people, I don't think Steph did this on his own. He's probably got a bunch of people. Probably was a discussion about, hey, are we getting any blowback from this? Because, Chris, I'm guessing if Steph wanted to sign with one of our main sneaker people here, there wouldn't be a lack of interest. But clearly this deal stood out. I would think they did their due diligence. I'll be curious if somebody asked him about it. Again, the product's banned here. So if I'm missing something, I'll acknowledge, but the product's banned. Can't sell it. Can't buy a sneaker here for it.
Apparently, D Wade and Klay Thompson have also signed with this company.
Yeah. So
chase the money. That's all we care about.
Well, you've never been presented a $400 million contract. It's easy for you to sit here and say you would turn it down.
I would still like to think I'd have some sort of moral compass here. I get it, 40 million, 400 million over 10 years. That's more money than I'll spend in multiple lifetimes.
Go see if you can buy a Klay Thompson sneaker for that company. If you did a search. Again, maybe there's a loophole, but you cannot go online and buy their product. Because, again, in 2022, they determined, we're not going to accept it. But I'm curious, maybe you can buy a Klay Thompson pair of sneakers. Because, Chris is right. D Wade and Klay Thompson did sign deals with the same company. And it's a massive ad campaign rolling out in China. And they may make their money back just on that alone and not need the U.S. market.
So I'm on shopnings, NINGS.com. Looks like you can also get Kyrie Irving gear.
Yeah, but I don't know who that site is.
This was just the first thing that popped up for.
Like if you went to Amazon and put in Klay Thompson sneaker, what pops up? And I'm not a sneakerhead to know like the best places to buy. And there's probably a few people in the audience laughing right now because I don't know that site, but I don't know where you would go to buy those sneakers. But if you went to Amazon and put Klay Thompson sneakers, can I buy that sneaker?
The first thing that pops up when I search for Klay Thompson shoe on Amazon, men's Steph Curry basketball shoe. I'm not seeing. No.
But that'll be Under Armour.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, it's not on Amazon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just pointing it out. I mean, it's a heck of a deal on top of $62 million and tack on 40 more. It's that alone's over $100 million. But interesting because of the company that it is. Yeah. Come back. We'll put a wrap on the Monday show next.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Before I get to what Cody Campbell, the Texas Tech billionaire, said about the judge's ruling to allow Brendan Sorsby to play football, Sorsby bet at least 40 times on his own team while underage and then paid people to make bets for him when he moved to a state where gambling was illegal. Understand that, okay? This wasn't someone that said I have an addiction. It was someone that got caught, okay? I understand that. But Cody Campbell has now spoken. The Texas Tech billionaire donor says, this whole situation is the outcome of a broken system, and I'm doing everything I can to fix it while Texas Tech still does the best it can to navigate the chaos. Oh, I get it. It's the system's fault.
Right.
I get it. It's the system's fault. Yeah.
This is bad, Mark.
The NCAA is appealing the ruling of the judge today, who, by the way, said that Sorsby, if he doesn't play college football, will suffer irreparable harm, meaning that you'd be taking away his right to play college football and to make money playing college football. He could go to the supplemental draft.
You forfeited your right.
He can go to the supplemental draft.
Did you see what Pete Nako said? According to what he had put out, he spoke with a few attorneys. NCAA can immediately file for an appeal, though the timeline might not fit what they want, and any other recourse would violate the injunction enjoining NCAA's rule of restitution.
Okay.
So they're being held against their own rule.
And likely tomorrow I'll have somebody on. I'll just say this. If the NCAA wants to really push it, right, you can ban the team. Now, they'll go to court. They'll fight you on that, but you can make them ineligible. You can say you're playing in an eligible play. Well, we went to court. Well, we'll see in court again. I don't think they'll do that.
You know what? I hope they do.
But we shall see.
I hope they do that.
20 minutes ago, I just checked the get-in price for tonight's Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Second to last row up top. What do you want?
Let's say
15,000.
Yep.
I can get you in for $4,800.
Wow.
Price is going down a little bit.
Okay.
But expect it to go back up.
Of course. Especially
now, the two are not together. They're near each other. But yeah. If you want two together, I can't get you two together for less than $9,000 per seat.
It's not worth it.
I wouldn't pay that. Now, I told you what I'd pay.
$1,500 per person?
For if somebody called me, if the Knicks win tonight, somebody said, I can get you 2 tickets, relatively decent seats for $3,000 for Wednesday.
Well, for you, what is relatively decent?
Not up in the nosebleeds. If I'm in what would be the second level around.
No way you'd get that for $1,500.
No. But I'm like, if somebody called me tomorrow and said I can get you 2 seats, $3,000 for Game 4, I'd take it. And my wife would jump at it, and I would take it.
No way that would ever.
But he may not be here Thursday. Just saying. If you miss any of today's program, go where you
partying in the streets with everyone. If they won.
Oh my God! If I wouldn't be here Friday either. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. If you miss any of today's program, go where you get your favorite podcast and type in the Beat of Sports on demand to access the show. Subscribe, get it downloaded to listen when it's convenient for you. You can always watch the video stream back at your convenience. Go to our YouTube page at 96 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. You can watch the stream back anytime. All right. Have a nice day. Matt Michelle will be among our guests tomorrow on the Tuesday edition of our program. Chris?
Mark?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
See you tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of the Beat of Sports.